Hello, everybody. I'm so pleased to be here today to introduce you to someone who's now a friend of mine, Rei Rosenquist. I've been working with Rei for just a little over 2 years now, and she has completed the Parrot Steward Consulting Program, and I have every faith in her that she is going to be as excellent a consultant as I am right out the gate. But she also has me behind her. So, in order to let you know a little bit about what she's like, I'm going to ask her some questions today. So, the first one is, how did parrots first become a part of your life, Ray?
Yeah, so I actually share the story with several bird owners out there. I got my very first budgie when she was gifted to me on Christmas, of all things,
Wow.
from my mother. I didn't know the first thing about birds. I had seen her in this little local pet shop. She was not doing well. She was down in the bottom of the cage, and my heart just went out to her. And I was standing in front of the cage, just mulling over what I should do, what I should do. And my mom comes up to me. This was on Christmas Eve. She comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, what if I just bought the bird right now? I'm gonna go buy the bird." And she just buys me the bird.
What
And
a
so I
mom.
take this little budgie home. I take this little budgie home and I immediately knew I was out of my depth. I didn't know the first thing about parrots. I didn't know how to read their body language. I knew she was terrified. She didn't come out of her little box. And, they give them to you in that horrible cardboard
Yeah.
box. And she just sat in that all night long. And in the morning, I thought, I got to do some research. I got to figure out how to live with this bird because I don't know what this bird needs to eat. I don't know how to train this bird. I'd trained dogs as a child growing up. And so, I'd heard Karen Pryor, I'd heard about clicker training, I'd heard about positive reinforcement kind of in the ether of the internet. And I thought, I gotta do some research. I gotta figure this out. And so I kind of started with Karen Pryor, clicker training, and then I found Avian Behavior International. I found you, Pam. I found the free flight community through Instagram and just started really diving headlong. And the more I learned about parrots, the more I fell in love with them. And the more I saw other people who had come from where I had come from and who didn't know what to do and who didn't know how to live with their parrots in a way that was satisfying. And as I kind of came along that journey and I had these amazing people like you rise up alongside me and guide me, I realized so many people want to be able to live with their parrots in a way that is satisfying. And they just need the information, they just
Yeah.
need help.
So true. So, did that first little budgie do well?
So she did for about a year and a half. Unfortunately, she was chronically sick. She was an albino
Sure.
budgie
Oh, God.
and she was chronically sick. Yeah, so she went through a lot of treatments, but unfortunately, she only lived to be about a year and a half old.
Well, she had a wonderful year and a half with you. I've never heard that story before, so thank you. So, when did you first know
Yeah.
that you wanted parrots to become a serious focus in your life?
I feel like it was probably about a year of so I had the one budgie, then I very quickly realized, oh, parrots are social animals. I need to get more birds. And by the time I had my first little budgie flock, I'd been in the food service as a profession for many, many years. And when I got into birds, I was already kind of feeling like, I don't feel like this is really satisfying me. It's not where my calling is. And as I got more into birds and I learned more about them and I learned more about their biology and their behaviors and I learned more about training and positive reinforcement and the science of behavior, I realized probably about a year in, honestly, of having my budgies that this is what I wanted to do. I remember it was in during the pandemic in 2020 was when I made the real, like a lot of us did, I made the real break with kind of my old life and I realized I want to do more. I want to help birds. I want to help people. And that was the moment at which I was like, I'm going to go full force into this profession.
I'm glad you did. So, what's something that parrots have taught you that you think most people don't realize?
Something that parrots have taught me that I think most people don't realize is how behavior isn't always what we think it is.
Hmm.
And we kind of move through our life thinking we understand how behavior works because we behave and other things behave around us. And we draw conclusions based on those behaviors, based on the consequences that we see. And we think we understand what's going on. And then, we look at our relationship with our pets, we look at our relationship with other people, we look at our relationship with ourselves and our job, and things don't always go the way we want. And we're frustrated a lot of times because it's like it feels like a mystery. Why don't my relationships go the way I want? Why don't my pets like me? Why is my bird afraid of me? Why does my bird bite me? And we think there's some magical key out there that we're doing wrong. And the thing is, we're just not really actually understanding how behavior works. We're not realizing what we're accidentally reinforcing and what we're accidentally punishing without really knowing what we're doing because we're just running off of old programs that we kind of acquired from our
Yeah,
childhood when we were
yeah.
doing the best we could. And so I think the thing that people don't realize is once you sit down and you decode how behavior really works, it's so simple. It's so easy to build trust with your bird once you understand what you actually need to do in order to earn that trust. It's so easy to not have to fall back on punishments and being angry and frustrated once
Hmm.
we see how it actually functions.
Yeah. I love it that you chose that because in almost every single consultation, I spend some time explaining that very thing, how behavior works to clients. And they're so surprised. They're grateful to know the truth, but often chagrined that they spent so many years just simply not understanding how to navigate other animals, people and others
Yeah.
with ease. So, what's one thing do you think that caregivers misunderstand about conures? And you can
Yeah.
choose a particular species or conures in general.
Yeah, so I think specifically green cheek conures, but this kind of extends to multiple different conure species. I think one of the biggest things that I hear a lot is my bird is nippy, but that's okay. I just have to live with it. My bird bites me, my bird bites others, but it's okay. It's just who they are. And this goes back to the science of behavior. People don't realize that being nippy, being bitey isn't a personality trait.
Right.
It's a function that that bird has learned. It's a behavior that the bird's offering because the bird is trying to communicate and they've learned, oh, if I bite you, it gets the message across.
Hmm.
That's literally all it is. And so people don't have to live with their birds biting them. You don't have to live with a nippy conure. Conyers nip because they're communicating something and we're misunderstanding them. So as soon as we decode what they're trying to tell us,
Yeah.
then we can change the behavior.
Yeah.
We can create other ways that we communicate with our birds that does not equal us having to get bit or other people in our home having to get bit all the time.
So true. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're out there to spread that message because that is really true, and it's not fair for us to label an individual bird or a species as being one thing or another. We know that behavior is a study of one. We know that we can change behavior, and any animal can learn anything, including to step up nicely without biting. So, all right. So. I'm very excited to be publishing this blog post about you. You really have an exceptional talent when it comes to understanding the social structure, I think, of bird flocks and knowing how to create an environment in which they can offer the very best behavior possible. But I'm curious, and I've never asked you this. I've always just assumed that you were going to be a behavior consultant. But, what kind of work are you most excited to do going forward? Is it something else also?
Yeah, so currently I've found myself in the medicine field, which is something that I was very interested in from the beginning, especially because the way I got into parrots was with a small sick budgie who didn't make it, largely because I was never able to find the kind of doctors who were able to dig deep enough to find out what was truly wrong with her. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of came into the medical field with a specific goal of wanting to learn more about avian medicine and find and help support people who are doing really excellent avian medicine. Now, that being said, as I've been in the medical field and kind of doing the parrot consulting and learning more about behavior alongside each other, the more I get into behavior, the more I find that's really truly where my joy is found. And the work that I really want to do is I love doing education and outreach. So whether that's one-to-one with clients where I'm educating them about parrot behavior, I'm teaching them the science of behavior, I'm helping them understand bird body language, bird biology, where these parrots come from in the wild, how they behave in the wild, or whether that's educating groups. I do a lot of education with children. I love doing school programs and seeing the joy on kindergartners' face when they get to hold a
Mm-hmm.
conure for the first time, who to them, that's the size of a macaw. And to see teenagers faces light up and their curiosity ignite when,
Mm-hmm.
moments before they were just bored with school and they don't want anything to do with it. And then they see the birds and they're like, suddenly their curiosity ignites and they're asking me all kinds of questions. And, even if it's just public programs where I do a lot of work going out into public parks where I take my birds and people walk up to me, it's very like free form. And people can walk up to me and they are always asking me questions about birds. And, maybe they have a bird at home and they want to learn more, or they want to know about conservation. What can they do to make sure parrots stay in the wild in the future? And so my ultimate goal with my work is I would really love to do the private consulting and then eventually build toward having a facility where I can bring people to shows and tours where they get to interact with parrots and they get to learn about conservation, what's being done in the wild with these birds, and
Mm-hmm.
really be able to also find ways that they can support conservation efforts, ways that they can support other sanctuaries that are housing birds who have nowhere else to go, giving them adoption resources so that they can find a
Mm-hmm.
bird if they want to have a bird in their home. I just really want to be involved in helping parrots and people where we intersect in any way that I can.
Mm-hmm. I love it that you bring in the conservation piece also. So, is there anything else that you'd like listeners today to know about you?
Yeah, I think just kind of the final piece is I just really want to encourage people that whether you have a parrot in your home or you're thinking about getting a parrot in your home, it can seem really overwhelming. And especially if you have a parrot in your home and things aren't going the way that you want, it can seem hopeless. And you can sometimes people feel like they've done everything they can do and they just don't know what else to do. And I just really want to encourage people that no matter where you are in your parrot journey, there's always hope and we can always come to a joyful solution. You can always find peace with the bird that you're living with. You can always find a bird to bring into your home that can bring that joy into your life. And I just want people to know that I'm here to support you, whether that's a parrot who you've really been struggling with, whether that's getting a new bird and bringing him into your home, or figuring out how to create a home that's fit for birds. I just want people to know that I'm here to support them in any way that they need, and it would be a joy to work with you.
So, how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me. I have a website, conyourcounseling.com. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram at Conure Counseling. So it's all Conure Counseling across the board, easy to find. You can also reach me through email privately. You can email me at conyourcounseling@gmail.com. And I'm always open to having discussions, questions, even if you're just curious, you've never thought about parrots, but you're thinking maybe that's the animal you want to have in your home. Or if you just have questions about education and conservation and you want to learn more.
Wonderful. Well, and I encourage you all to contact Ray, especially if you have a conure. She can, without a doubt, help you. Ray, thank you so much for coming today and answering all of those questions. And I can't wait to hear how your journey goes in the behavior consulting field. Bye now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pam.